She hit the dirt hard. Again, the gravel tore through her palms. Her uniform streaked with mud, her lip bloodied. Laughter rang out behind her like broken glass. Four men in standard-issue fatigues leaned on a Humvee, arms crossed, smirking like they'd just watched a circus act fumble the tightrope point. One of them shouted, "Maybe ballet would have been a better fit, sweetheart." Cadet Angela Torres didn't look back. She didn't flinch. She rose, slow and steady, boots grinding into the earth. Her breathing was tight, focused, each inhale a silent promise. That day, the sun beat down without mercy. Dust curled around her boots as if the ground itself wanted her to quit. But she walked to the rope wall again, blisters stinging, ribs bruised, and began to climb. No words, no explanations, only silence. They didn't know what that silence carried to them. She was just a diversity recruit, the brass's way of checking a box. She was too quiet, too small, too scarred. But what they couldn't see, beneath the fabric of her sleeve, just above the wrist bone of her right hand, was a faded tattoo. A mark that most in this camp wouldn't recognize, but those who did would never forget. Three black triangles, burned into flesh. The symbol of the Black Vipers, the elite, the invisible, the ones who walked into enemy dens and never came out. The same. Most people thought the Black Vipers were a myth, a rumor whispered by old war dogs after their third drink. Angela Torres had been one of them, long before this base. Long before this uniformed, in a ruined schoolhouse outside Fallujah, she had dragged three injured boys from a collapsed stairwell, her back torn, her right ear half gone, her mouth full of blood. She never told anyone what happened after. Not even the medics. But she wore the Viper mark in silence, not for glory, for the ones who never made it back. Now, at the edge of the training field, with bruises blooming across her ribs and sweat pooling in her collar, she reached the top of the wall. She didn't cheer. She didn't gloat. She dropped silently to the other side. The laughter stopped. That night, during lights out, the colonel paid an unexpected visit to the barracks. His voice was low but sharp. He walked the row, nodding at each bunk, until he stopped by Angela's. The men watched from their cots. The colonel crouched beside her bed, and without looking at the others, whispered two words, quietly, reverently. "That's a Black Viper mark." Silence swallowed the room. One of the men, the loudest of them, blinked in disbelief. "Sir, you mean?" The colonel rose, eyes cold as winter. "You mocked someone who carried more scars in one mission than most of you will earn in a lifetime." Angela didn't lift her gaze. She folded her hands over her chest and stared at the ceiling, where the shadows played across the concrete like ghosts. The next morning, everything changed. No more snickers. No more taunts. When she stepped into the mess hall, trays paused midair. Soldiers stood. Chairs scraped against tile as cadets gave her a wide path, some nodding, a few whispering, none daring to meet her eyes for long. A week later, on graduation day, it wasn't her name they called that made jaws drop. It was the moment three high-ranking veterans stood in the back row and saluted her. Not the general, not the commandant. Her, the youngest cadet, saluted back. No speech, no smile. Just one quote stitched into her uniform's inner collar. Words she once heard whispered in the desert wind. "True strength is never loud. It walks in silence and leaves no footprints, only legends." Later, as the sun sank behind the hills and the base returned to silence, someone quietly placed a folded Black Viper patch on her cot. No note, no signature, just the simple three black triangles. Warriors don't always come roaring. Sometimes they limp. Sometimes they bleed in silence. And sometimes, just sometimes, they rise from the dirt, quiet as ghosts, but stronger. And Steel. If this story moved you, share where you're watching from. Tell us what silent strength means to you. And subscribe to honor the heroes you never see, because some legends don't need a spotlight.